Day 2, waking up in the backpackers campground. We got in last night when it was dark. You just have to pick a spot. It just starts getting more and more crowded. And then there's this kind of complicated registration process. And you have to scan and pay via the rec.gov app, even if you don't have cell phone service. Surprisingly quiet at like 8:30 when we got in. Seemed like everyone was sleeping. All these nerdy backpackers ready for an adventure. Well, we are on the hiker's bus. So normally the National Park Service runs a bus up to Tuolumne Meadows, but at the moment this season they're not. So we've had to get on this one. And it runs, so far as I know, it's a pay bus. I think it was like $100 to go from the valley to Tuolumne. Takes 2 hours, and it's kind of funny how things are so confusing in life, even when you do a lot of research. They recommended purchasing a ticket ahead of time, and you had to pick that up from the Valley Lodge, and they claimed that you couldn't pick it up until the morning of, and yet we had to be on that bus at 8 a.m. and it was supposed to pick up at Curry Village, and we assumed that it would pick up where the normal buses go through Curry Village, but instead it picked up at the front desk, the registration area. And basically as soon as we got on, they left, even though it was like 6 minutes ahead of schedule. So it's just kind of one of those feelings like, man, we barely snuck on this thing, and yet we did. We purchased our tickets in advance, you know, we were ready ahead of time, and yet just like that, we almost missed it. And then the funny thing was, basically there was like no enforcement of the actual ticket stubs, so we basically could have just gotten on for free. He just said like, oh, raise your hand if you haven't given me your ticket yet. And we were honest about it, and we had tickets, but you could have just not been. So it's kind of funny, these things. Like last night at the backpackers campground, on the internet it said you could not pay with cash, and yet when we got there, you could pay with cash, and the app was super clunky, and someone who'd been there a bunch of times was like, yeah, it's just better to pay with cash. It's like, well, the website says you can't. Oh, if you call, they'll tell you that you can. It's like, well, what's the point of the internet? And yeah, and then the other funny thing was, like your car, you leave your car at Curry Village, but you camp in the backpackers campground, which is like a mile away, so you have to walk that. And but then when you get to the backpackers campground and you go to check in, they want to know what your license plate number is, and of course we're in a rental, so we have no idea. And I don't know, it's just kind of funny, just like how they organize these parks. Sometimes it's just, you wonder if anyone ever goes through the experience themselves and says like, oh, this is pretty clunky for first time users. And this is my 4th time to Yosemite National Park. Like, I'm fairly familiar with things, but it's still just, things just aren't that well documented, and they're just not consistent. Like from what's posted online to what's printed in the brochure. Like even at the backpackers wilderness permit area, the ranger told us, he's like, oh yeah, don't bother putting your bear canister 100 feet or 100 yards away. That's too far. 20 feet's pretty much good. That's what you want to do. You know, but then if you don't do the 100 or the 100 yards or whatever, like, you sign a contract that said you would, so you could get a fine. You know, it's like, who do you believe? You know, the written thing, or the wilderness expert, or the ranger, or whatever. So it's an interesting experience always in the parks, and I suppose you could look at it as all of the bureaucracy preserves the sense of adventure that you get here. We're the last ones on the hiker's bus. About to get off. We've been on for about 2.5 hours to go from the valley to Tuolumne, and we're about to get off at the lodge, fill up on some water, hit the trail. Famous last words?
I can't wait to get off this bus.
Well, we're departing at 11:45 on day 2. Look at her, ready to go. We're gonna go to the Vogelsang High Sierra Camp, I guess is what that probably stands for. Yep. And Yosemite Valley is 27 miles away, plus Half Dome, so it'll be closer to 30 or something like that. Plus we may take a few detours because we got 4 nights, 5 days to do this bad boy, and we don't need all that time. So off we go. Lead the way, girl.
First steps.
First steps. Don't trip. Kids, a little tiny chippy. They're really close too. Oh, they're not that skittish. He did just pose, didn't he? And where's the other one? Ran off. Haven't even been hiking 15 minutes. Came across this gem. This is what the Sierra is all about. All this granite and the pools. We're about to jump in. Look at this. The meadows. This is why the John Muir Trail is gorgeous. Even Shell's gonna jump in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on, lay down. Dunk.
Holy cold. It's so cold.
Good job. First mile complete. How you feeling, girl?
Good, great.
It's beautiful.
Getting wet was a good idea.
Yeah, jumped in. So it's kind of mixed sun and shade here. The temp is pretty good. What would you say? Is something like 85? Maybe? And like most national park wilderness trails, they're super established. Nothing like an Ansel Adams wilderness or a Kahata wilderness area where you're, you know, sort of clattering over down trees. And I mean, these things are so well traveled, you almost barely need a map. But gorgeous. Lots of big granite chunks and all kinds of trees. And of course, beautiful hikers. Look who we found on the trail. Pretty cool, huh?
Unlike when we're at the house.
You gotta talk louder. People.
Unlike when we're at the house, James is doing the cooking.
I do my best cooking in the backcountry when it's mostly heating up water and adding
Ramen
baggies.
noodles are a real delicacy, so nice work. Check this out. He's even doing the dishes.
This is how you do it in the backcountry. You add a little bit of water, take a clean finger, and scrub.
Make sure it's clean.
What's that?
Make sure it's clean.
Make sure it's clean. And then you
Drink it.
scrub. And then you drink it because it's calories and you brought them out here.
And pesto juice.
Pesto juice. Yeah, it doesn't taste very good, but it tastes fine. A mama with 2 fawns. Can you see? Oh. You see the fawns? Cute little ground squirrels. I know the quality's not that great. See him? He's gonna let me get close. There he goes. And there's another one over there. There he goes. Well, we're dragging a bit, but we only have 0.8 to go. How you feeling, girl?
Good. Tired.
Yeah. Today was a good bit of climbing in elevation before we drop into the valley, and we've done about 6.5, and we're still a little bit jet lagged, and the altitude is getting us, I think, a little bit. This route's been pretty exposed, so we've been in the sun most of the day, and since we caught the hiker's bus, we didn't really get moving until noon, which was sort of prime picking for the sun. We're at 10,000 feet, and we live in Chattanooga, which I think is like 2,000 or less than 3, so big adjustment for us, but still been a good day. Some beautiful things, some cool animals, but I'm guessing this will be one of our least favorite days in hindsight of our time in Yosemite. We'll see. Really gnarly trees. Cool color too. We got about 10 minutes left.
Yay.
Vogelsang Lake,
Yay.
Alpine Lake, here we come.
So excited to eat.
Life is full of difficult decisions, so now a toughie. What's more beautiful, the scenery or the girl? This is Fletcher Lake. A great ending to a great day. Alpine environments are super cool. If you look, there's actually snow behind me there. And yet it's September. And we've been burning up all day, but you know, the sun is dropping. We're both in down jackets, and we are using Andrew Skirka's we call it Frito beans. He calls it beans and rice and Fritos and cheese. But look at the view over here. Look at that. The sun is setting over there on all that beauty. We got that cliff and that still water. It's just it's just like hard to imagine it being any better. That's why they call it the Alpenglow or Alpine Glow. It gets really pretty in the evening. All right, we're getting chilly, so we're gonna keep the recap short. We caught the well, you know all this if you've been watching. So yeah, we ended up doing 7 miles up here to Vogelsang Lake. This lake behind us is Fletcher's. We're going to see Vogelsang in the morning. Really annoying in my opinion. They have these rules that I just don't like. So basically, they call this area a High Sierra camp, and you're not allowed to camp anywhere within the High Sierra camp or within a mile, except for in the designated backpackers area. And so, like, instead of being able to sleep, you know, 100 feet away from the water like normal or near this lake, you know, we're 7 miles from anyone, so we're not going to ruin the view for a day hiker or a bus tour or anything like that. It's only going to be backpackers up here, but they put you all in one place where you can't even see, you know, the lake or anything. And I know there's a lot of visitors here, and I know they're trying to protect things, but sometimes I just think they take it too far. Anyway, pretty tough hike today. 7 miles isn't necessarily a lot. I mean, I did 20 miles in a day once, and our average is, you know, 10, 12 miles, but 10,000 feet of elevation, you know, for our lungs and everything was a challenge. And it was really exposed, just sunlight all the time. And there was a grade. I'll have to add it later. I don't remember exactly what the grade was. I think we gained maybe 1,000 feet. Don't quote me on that. At least, oh, no, I know. We gained 1,500. So we gained 1,500 feet over around 7 miles. So I don't know what that grade is, but you can figure it out if you're that kind of nerd. What do you have to add? Glad for your jacket?
Yeah, all day it was like, why are we wearing down jackets? But it does get chilly at night, so.
It's supposed to get 40 up here.
Yeah, but it was it was a good day. It was a hard day. I kind of felt like wimpy, like, why is this so hard? Because we've done longer hikes than this. But
Yeah.
it was almost, not constantly, but almost constantly like a little bit uphill. And then, so that made your legs hurt. And then the elevation, I think, too. It was just like, I was out of breath a lot, so.
I felt like we were out of breath a lot, yeah.
Felt like at one point, it was like, well, I'm not hiking anymore. I'm just like trudging along. Like, it's hard to pick up my feet, but.
So it took us 6.5 hours to get here. And I mean, we probably took an hour lunch, and we probably took another hour of other breaks, you know, we took a coffee break, rest breaks, hanging out. You know, we weren't here to, you know, beat the pavement, hard charging or anything like that.
I think it would be more exciting too if the river was running, or the creek.
Oh yeah, Rafferty Creek was totally dry, so we struggled with water a little bit. And that was also why we took it easy, is like we couldn't replenish that easily, because we were out of water. We never ran out of water, but we started running, you know, sort of a little bit low. She started getting a headache, signs of dehydration, so we kind of pumped the brakes. And I mean, we probably took 2 20-minute breaks at least, maybe 30 minutes, just to let the sun go down. And then, you know, the last section, we were almost a little bit chilly because the sun had come down and we were in the shade, and temp started dropping. So anyway, anything else to add?
Tough, good day.
Yeah. Happy anniversary.
And happy anniversary.
Day 2.
Woohoo, can't wait to sleep.